I went on vacation for 10 days and came back to find my key did not work. At first, I honestly thought I was just tired. My flight had been delayed, my suitcase had a cracked wheel, and I had spent the entire ride home imagining a shower and my own bed. So when my key stopped halfway in the lock, I just stood there in the hallway blinking at it like the door had personally betrayed me. I tried again. Nothing. Then I noticed the lock was new. Not scratched. Not jammed. New. Different brand, different color, and definitely not the lock I had used for the last 3 years. Before I could even fully process that, the door opened from the inside. My younger sister, Chloe, was standing there wearing my hoodie. Not a similar hoodie. Mine. The oversized gray one from my college bookstore that had paint on one sleeve because I wore it when I helped my friend move. She looked annoyed and said, "You're early." I thought maybe I was still sleep-deprived enough to be hallucinating. I said, "Why are you in my apartment?" Chloe rolled her eyes like I had asked why the sky was blue. She said, "Mom said I could stay here while you were gone." I told her Mom does not own my apartment. She said, "You barely use the place anyway." I live there full time. That was the first moment I knew this was not a misunderstanding. This was not my sister crashing for a night because something went wrong. This was Chloe doing what Chloe always did, deciding she deserved something, then collecting enough family permission to pretend she had not stolen it. I pushed past her and walked inside. My living room looked like someone had shaken my life in a box and dumped out only the parts they wanted. Her boyfriend, Mason, was on my couch playing video games with his shoes on my coffee table. My throw pillows were on the floor. Half my plants were dead. There were fast food bags in a pile next to my bookshelf. Then I saw my clothes. Trash bags. My clothes were shoved into black trash bags near the hallway, like I had been evicted from my own life. I walked into my bedroom and found Chloe's makeup covering my dresser. My jewelry box was open. My bed had different sheets on it. There were framed photos of her and Mason propped against the wall, not even hung up yet, like they were planning to decorate after finishing the takeover. I turned around and asked what she had done. Chloe crossed her arms and said, "We're starting our life together. You're 28. You can stay with Mom until you figure things out." I laughed because if I had not laughed, I think I would have screamed. I asked, "Figure what out?" "This is my apartment." She said, "Not really. You rent it." Mason paused his game long enough to say, "Possession is 9/10 of the law." That was when I noticed the locksmith receipt on the counter. She had changed the locks 3 days after I left. 3 days. Not the day before I came home in a panic. Not because of an emergency. 3 days into my vacation, my sister changed my locks, moved her boyfriend in, packed my belongings into trash bags, and apparently convinced herself that if she acted confident enough, reality would give up. I called my mom first, mostly because Chloe kept saying Mom approved it. Mom answered cheerfully until she heard my voice. Then she got quiet. I asked if she told Chloe she could move into my apartment. Mom said, "I told her she could stay there while you were away." I said, "She changed my locks." Mom sighed. Not gasped. Not what? Sighed. She said, "Well, honey, she and Mason needed stability." I asked if my stability mattered. She said, "You're stronger than she is." That sentence explained my entire childhood. Chloe cried, I compromised. Chloe failed a class, I tutored her. Chloe wrecked Mom's car, I drove her to work. Chloe spent rent money on concert tickets, I was told family helps family. Somehow, being responsible had become a punishment. Because I could handle more, everyone felt comfortable taking more. I hung up on my mom. Then I called my landlord, Mr. Alvarez. Chloe laughed when she heard me say his name. She actually laughed. She said, "Go ahead. Mom already talked to him." That confused me for about 5 seconds, until Mr. Alvarez answered and said, "I was expecting your call." My stomach dropped. He told me my mother had called him a week earlier pretending to be me. She said I was moving out and wanted my sister added to the lease. Mr. Alvarez said he found the call strange because I had always emailed him, never called, and because the voice sounded older than mine. So he told her any lease change had to be done in writing from my email address. Apparently, 2 days later, he received an email from me. Except it was not from my email. It was from an address with my first name and a dot in the wrong place. Chloe had tried to fake my email. Mr. Alvarez did not approve anything. He did not add Chloe to the lease. He did not authorize a lock change. In fact, he had already been planning to come by because another tenant reported strangers moving furniture into my unit. I put him on speaker. He said, very clearly, "Chloe, you are not on the lease. You have no permission to be there. If you are not out by tonight, I will treat this as trespassing." Chloe's face changed. For the first time since I arrived, she looked scared. Mason turned off the game. Then Chloe started crying. She said they had nowhere to go. She said Mom promised I would not mind. She said I was selfish for having a one-bedroom apartment all to myself when she and Mason were trying to build a future. I asked if building a future usually included stealing someone else's underwear drawer. She screamed that I was humiliating her. I said, "Good." Mr. Alvarez told me to call the police if they refused to leave, and then he headed over. While we waited, I started recording on my phone. Chloe kept trying to grab it. Mason told me I was making it worse. I told him the only reason I had not called the police yet was because I was giving them a chance to carry their own trash bags out before officers did it for them. That was when Mason made his first smart decision all day. He started packing. Chloe screamed at him for abandoning her. He said, "I am not getting arrested for your family drama." By the time Mr. Alvarez arrived, Mason had 3 garbage bags of their stuff by the door. Chloe was sitting on my floor crying while my mom called me over and over. I did not answer. Mr. Alvarez inspected the lock, took photos, and called the locksmith listed on the receipt. The locksmith admitted Chloe claimed to be my roommate and said she had lost her keys. Mr. Alvarez was furious. He made the locksmith come back that night and change the lock again for free. My mom showed up 40 minutes later. She did not hug me. She did not ask if I was okay. She walked straight to Chloe and started rubbing her back like Chloe was the victim of a natural disaster instead of the person who created one. Then Mom looked at me and said, "Are you happy now?" I said, "Not yet." I told her I knew about the phone call to Mr. Alvarez. I knew about the fake email. I knew she helped Chloe try to take my apartment. Mom said she was only trying to keep Chloe safe. I asked, "Safe from what? Paying rent?" She slapped me. The hallway went silent. Mr. Alvarez stepped between us and told my mother to leave the property. I think that was the first time in my life another adult looked at my mom and saw exactly what she was doing. Chloe and Mason left that night. My apartment smelled like fast food and cheap perfume. 2 of my sweaters were missing. My favorite mug was broken. My mattress had a stain I refused to identify. I spent the next 3 days cleaning, changing passwords, filing a police report, and documenting every damaged or missing item. My family exploded. My aunt said calling the police was too far. My cousin said I should have just let Chloe stay until she found a place. My mom left me a voicemail saying I had chosen an apartment over my sister. But nobody could answer the one question I kept asking. If Chloe needed help, why did she need to change the locks? Because the answer was obvious. She did not want help. She wanted my life, and she wanted me locked out of it. Mr. Alvarez did not evict me. He actually apologized for not acting sooner and installed a security camera facing the hallway entrance. I paid to replace some things and sent Chloe an itemized bill. She blocked me. Mason unblocked me just long enough to send a photo of my missing hoodie in a dumpster, which told me everything I needed to know about both of them. I have not spoken to my mom since the slap. She tells relatives I am dramatic and unforgiving. Maybe I am. But every time I put my key into my new lock, I remember standing in that hallway exhausted from the airport while my sister opened my door wearing my clothes and asked why I was early. So am I wrong for calling my landlord and filing a police report instead of letting my sister and her boyfriend stay? Or did changing the locks mean she stopped being a guest and became someone trying to steal my home?